Thank you for your testimony. Director Stone Manning, you probably anticipating a little question about Lava Ridge. In fact, several of them on here. But Magic Valley Energy has proposed the Lava Ridge Wind Project, a 400-unit wind turbine field on 73,000 acres of BLM property adjacent to the Minidoka National Historic Site, 25 miles northeast of Twin Falls, Idaho. If built, it would be one of the largest in the United States. The proposed turbines would stand at 740 feet tall. To put it in perspective, that height is greater than the Washington Monument or the Seattle Space Needle, with each turbine being comparable to the length of a Boeing 747. It's safe to say that if approved, the Lava Ridge Wind Project will forever change the landscape in southern Idaho. Affected farmers, ranchers, tribes, Japanese American community, and sportsmen have voiced legitimate objections. As it stands today, the local community predominantly has not shown support for this development. In fact, no one has called me and said they support this. This project is part of a greater initiative related to renewable energy, and the Magic Valley seems to be the target for these developments. I find myself questioning at this point, will the pressure to increase renewable energy trump the impacts to species and cultural sites? Question. How would the operation of these turbines and the assorted towers located affect birds of prey and avian populations such as sage grouse?
Chairman Simpson, thank you for the question. And as you know, as the whole subcommittee knows, we're working hard to meet Congress's request that we get 25 gigawatts of renewable energy and the President's request that we get 25 gigawatts of renewable energy onto our public lands by 2025. And we're working hard on the Lava Ridge proposal, listening carefully to your constituents on the ground. And I hope you see that we heard a bunch of the concerns with the draft preferred alternatives that are currently the source of much public conversation and a public comment period. It's a terrific example about how we all work together. I've worked with Director Sams and his team and Director Williams and her teams on digging in and making sure that we preserve the desolate feel at the Minidoka site so people understand what it was like to be interred there. And some of the changes you saw in the draft were because of sage grouse. And we're also looking at the bird of prey issue, and we'll continue to refine that work before the final comes out.
Thank you. And I will say that the hearing they held down, the BLM held down in Twin Falls, was very well attended, and I thought it was very respectful both by BLM and by the people that were there.
Yeah, glad to hear that.
How would project construction, operation, and maintenance affect available livestock forage and subsequent active grazing permits?
Yeah, thanks for that question as well, Chair Simpson. It's my understanding that we're working with the permittees now on how the company is working with the permittees on how those disruptions could be made up for in an equitable way. But ultimately, you can have cattle grazing and wind development in the same spot. I understand that the construction is a real issue, but ultimately the two can coincide.
What's the rough timeline for a decision to be made on large-scale wind and solar energy projects proposed on Bureau of Land Management land? And I understand, as we've talked about this when you were in my office, that that valley is kind of a target because there's going to be many different proposed wind turbines and stuff in there because of its location and the wind that goes through there. And actually, it's not that the wind blows in Idaho, it's that Utah sucks is what we've, no, that was a joke for years and years in Idaho, and I'm glad Stuart left before I said that. No. Anyway, could you remember the question now?
I can, I think. What are the timelines? So we are currently at Lava Ridge. We're currently right in the middle of the NEPA process. We extended the comment period to the end of this week, as I think you know, or actually into April. And it depends on the amount of comments that we get and the substance of those comments for how long it's going to take us to really properly incorporate them into our final. But I expect something by this fall or this winter. And you're right, those proposals are coming because there's a transmission line slated there that was congressionally mandated, and the projects are going to follow those lines.
Yeah.